later.
Diet sodas are actually worse for you.
What's your problem?
Whatever.
You're just nothing to me.
Shit is burned into my retinas.
Look who it is!
Imagine a place you and your friends can go for some private action. Purchase a penthouse and start living the life you deserve.
Hello.
Goodbye. You watch. A year from now, regional manager the laws is about. The laws is about anti-sex trafficking. Oh, you on here selling coochie? Well, let's lock you up and send you to El Salvador. Oh, you an activist? Diamond Styles? Oh, you've been talking shit about Trump? Oh, and you got an ad up? Oh, El Salvador. You clocking that connection? Oh, you against the government, baby. I see all these lies. Oh, you talking against Trump. And you got an ad trying to survive this recession in 2026, 2025? Oh, no. You breaking the law. Let's send you to El Salvador with the men. You clocking that team? You clocking the connection? And you're not exempt. If you're not trans, if you're not an activist, they can just find a way. There's people who are not activists, who are not trans, and it's happening to them right now. It's happening to them. Whole actresses getting wore out. So the ways that you can actually buff what's the word? The ways that you can kind of slow it down, just slow yourself down from being actually homeless. Not to mention that we in an even worse housing crisis. If you get kicked out of your place, if you get kicked out of your place, where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? So what's the next place you gonna stay? With an eviction on your record. The system will collapse on you. And they're dismantling anti-trans policies in HUD. So the anti-trans policies saying that they don't need to protect you, now they can discriminate against you at apartment complexes. You see how they're setting you up for failure? On many, many levels, you see how the system is setting you up for failure?
Oh, you mean? You did not get sucked into a turbine. I knew you'd be fine. How likely is it I have two operations in the same way, huh? Now, we look for the vault. Maybe start in the central building.
Facts, Deshaun, you're right.
Watch out for the Mr. Rubio's personnel.
It doesn't make sense.
Patrol this area. They all know every soldier on the island. Them you cannot fool, no matter what.
See how these things are connected and can affect you as it gets worse. But y'all think it's a game. Maybe not y'all, but somebody. It's scary to me. And that's just, I don't want to say legit shit, but that's just the things that you can see happening. What about the crazy? Like, you ain't even thinking about the people that are being currently galvanized. I'm sitting here watching, I didn't get to finish it yet, but I'm about to finish it. The Oklahoma City bombings that happened in Oklahoma City.
Safe, I think.
And there are people who are currently right now being galvanized to do crazy stuff.
In my experience, you can also find the key.
Like right now. They rolled up on the Capitol. Jan 6ers rolled up on the Capitol. That hadn't been done in centuries.
I'm sorry, the CCTV image is a little blurry. Was that a gun made of gold?
2018, they were sending bombs to people's houses here in Texas, in Austin. They were sending bombs to people's houses. Only reason why they found out is because one of the bombs went off at the mail station. Did y'all follow that case? One of the bombs went off at the mail station before it got to the person's house. That's the only reason why that it stopped somebody from getting killed. Because the other two blew people up. I was in Austin at the time. I was at South by Southwest, and we were nervous just about being there, and that shit was going on while we were there. What if they would have bombed the big event? Crazy. This kind of world would make me extremely ruthless. And some people are extremely ruthless in response to stuff. That's a problem because you don't know when stuff is coming. Are you ruthless now? Like, are you doing ruthless shit now? Or are you waiting for something to happen? How ruthless is the shit that's going to happen to you to get you to ruthless? Is it going to take your life? There's a difference between being attacked and then it doesn't take your life, and now you turn ruthless. But what about the shit that happened before you actually get to ruthless? Once people have nothing to lose, it's going to get real ugly. And I don't know, and I'm currently talking about the crazies that want to harm you. Like, what if the new rise of the Ku Klux Klan? What if that happened? The terrorist organization that was the Ku Klux Klan that is now getting more and more members because of this racialized place that we're in our culture. What does it look like now? Back in the day, they was riding on horses, doing Molotov. What they got now? Don't stay as a uniform. I'm talking about the militia. What do they have now? Back then it was ropes, little guns, food. Not just, I'm talking about what do they have now to be able to harm us? They've already used bombs, so you know bombs is there. They have legalized AR, the war weapons, what's the letters? AR-57s or whatever the letters for the guns is. Like, they out here got war weapons. Not saying that we can't have some too. We can go out here and buy them too. AR-15, thank you. We're in a different era of war weaponizing. War weapons out here on the street. Who ready for that? Are you ready for that? Do you own guns? I own guns. But I'm a Texan. That's normal for us. But do y'all own guns? Drones, AI? It's a whole different kind of war we will be fighting.
extraction point at the airstrip should be with you now.
The
This
school
time is the
shooting,
straw that breaks the camel's
we
back,
used to them. We so desensitized to it, they don't be making the news.
They have their attack boats mobilized along the coast.
I unfortunately do not own the gun.
Hey, if you're looking for the sub, I had to put it somewhere else while you were
I
inside.
can't. People got cameras inside their house that can be hacked. I don't have a camera pointing inside my house, but I have a camera that can hear me. If it got hacked, it can hear what I'm saying.
Judging from their comms, it sounds like Mr. Rubio is
It can't see me, but it can hear me. I have my camera pointed
looks like Mr. Rubio is
outside my door, so I can see
full marks, Capitan.
my ring light. I can see, if I'm out of town, I can see what's going on at my door when people leave packages or people try to steal my packages. Somebody try to walk up to my door, I can be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I can talk to them through it. They can't see me, but they can hear me. I'm prepared to own one, though. I think you should. I think everybody, now that we have a right, now that as long as we still have a right, I think we all should have guns. One of the reasons I don't want to say that it saved everybody, because we know that it did not. But some of the ways that our ancestors in the past, some of the ways that they got a chance to run is because they had their shotguns. Just having a chance to run and get away and slow it down is because they had shotguns. Because they can postpone it and run and get away, child. I think you should have everybody should have a weapon. I just do.
You ain't never heard shit like this from Black as fuck. Top down. Top down.
Especially if you the marginalized people, because I think that if some kind of war, because I don't think it's gonna be like a civil war like that, y'all. We are in a different time with too much technology. I feel like people will be being sneaky. It won't be in our face. It won't be in our face, y'all. It wouldn't be, oh, we're gonna march on the field and battle with our mullets. This ain't gonna be that. It's gonna be sneaky. And I think it's gonna start quiet. There's gonna be some moment of upheaval. There's gonna be some moments of upheaval. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. It's scary to me. Scary, 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 scary. Okay. What is next? Let me see. Oh, and this bullshit. And this is going to be my last topic before I get off of here.
You know, we duplicated the same trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day.
Listen, if you're going to compare yourself to Al Shepard, I'm going to compare to Al Shepard. Al Shepard made America's first human spaceflight on May 5th of
No,
1961.
that's not the one I wanted to show y'all. One of this, I thought that was the video. One of the video about that, it's about that, the launch. She is talking about the company that Jeff Bezos owned, the company that sent them up there. First of all, this is PR. This is promotional. The message is, if you are rich and you have rich friends, you get to do cool stuff. Okay? That's the first message. The first message is you get to do cool stuff. Ooh, I have rich connections. Because none of them ladies, except for one, to me, should have been on that ship. This is this empty feminism that I think is crazy. Oh, women, this 6 women or however many women went on a trip to space. Da, 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 da. There's only one rocket scientist on that trip. The rest of them people, pop stars, activists, da, 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 da. I find that to be abhorrent. I find it to be whack and corny and wasteful. It's tone deaf as hell. And one of the things that's crazy about what she said is when she said, oh, the company is trying to fix our planet by putting the damn trash into space. Gail, if that ain't Maria Antoinette, let them eat cake level of stupid. You trying to take trash from the earth to put it in space instead of coming up with inventive ways to where we are reducing our damn trash or reusing our damn trash. You wanna have the company who has a huge carbon footprint of creating unnecessary stuff, making the planet a fucking oven. You think the man who is creating the trash, who have enough money to fix the issue right now without throwing the trash in space, you think he care about people? You are crazy.
Hey, you read me? Location should be coming through. Money launderers on LSPD files with cash to appropriate. So, needless to say, we have to raise some capital if we want to take on the cartel again. Luckily, with the status quo being what it is, we still have no shortage of shady organizations you can persuade to donate. I must admit, I'm glad you want to hit the cartel again. I wonder if it keeps them awake at night, knowing you might reappear at any moment to diligently fuck their shit up. By the way, I will be able to assist you with my LSPD privileges. Accessing their database and communications is a perk of the job. One that will prove useful throughout this venture, I'm certain. You think they've added extra security measures since last time? I suppose we'll find out, huh? Time to liberate some felonious assets. Seems like you got him shaking. Be careful. This is Ray. Okay, just like last time. Locate and seize any and all funds on the premises. Keep your wits about you, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they made some improvements to their security after your last visit. Looks like we're ready to hit the quota again. Superlative work, officer. We're just getting started.
I'm with you. No motherfucking shit. Alright, lady. I hear you. Oh, you know I don't drink that shit no more. Hey, more liquor gonna make your ass crazy, girl. I'll talk to you later.
break it down by party, you can get an idea why. Take a look at Francis and look at Benedict. What you see is massive party splits going on here in the States. Francis, very popular among Democrats at plus 53, but among Republicans, he was only at plus 8. Not a big surprise. He was often seen as a more liberal pope, while Benedict, who was seen as a more conservative pope, considerably more popular among Republicans at plus 47 net.
What's up? How you doing? What's your problem? Douche. Don't even go there.
Sending the relevant coordinates to you. Okay, you know the formula now. So go do what you do. We need a laptop with up-to-date info on the cartel's operations, and a new hacking device after our friend, the tech genius, with the terabyte deactivated the last one. Oh, and of course, we'll need another tray. By the way, don't worry. We may share a goal, but I'm fully aware we do not share a motivation. I've made sure sufficient funds are allocated to recompense you for your efforts today.
This type that's that Serena Joy Waterford level of delusion and being that's that image shit where I'm like, no sense of self of what's going on. Lady, you talking about putting pollution in the space, not reducing the pollution, not changing our practice on the only earth we got. Your solution is to take the trash and put it up in space. That's your solution. That's your solution.
Okay, I'm sending you a CCTV shot of the terabyte. Alright,
First
let's
of
take
all,
care of the hacking device. Remember the guy with the
the
terabyte?
Earth already
He
has
deactivated the last
a
one we stole, so
gravitational
he's gonna
field.
go back for another. Bring down
So
the
if you put the
drones
shit
to
up there, it's
bypass
probably
his
gonna come
security.
back.
This guy's been evading the LSPD for some time.
Or another planet is gonna have a gravitational pull, and then you sending our trash to another planet. How is that gonna affect us in general? Imagine, I don't know how long this would take, we're just theorizing. Imagine if Mercury, which is a planet closer to the sun than us, imagine if the gravitational pull of Mercury get to pulling all of our trash to it, and that motherfucker explodes. I don't know how long that would take. The people who making these decisions probably long dead. But that's what I'm imagining. Crazy. And they got you on here. Gail King, the best friend of one of the richest women in the world, talking about they're trying to help our planet and take the trash up to space. What? The hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? That's crazy. Oh, of course, Turner. They're trying to figure out how to send people up there. They're trying to make a place up there where they can stay in case this motherfucker falters. And it's gonna be rich people. Them people paid to play there. That wasn't free. Like one of the girls who went up there was fucking Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. You ain't even no scientist or nothing. Y'all talk about women's empowerment. It wasn't even people who've been in the science field that y'all chose. Y'all should have chose nothing but women scientists to go up there. But you choosing pop stars and rich niggas' girlfriends. It just, I just don't have. I kind of was wishing that the shit did make it. No, I don't want nobody to die. That's no good. But I think it's tone deaf. I think it's tone deaf and dumb. Well, they figuring it out. I don't think it's impossible for them to figure it out. I don't think it's impossible.
You should have access now the drones are down.
I don't think, y'all. I don't think that's I don't think that's feasible right now. But what I do think is feasible
Requisitioning the train, or anything else for that matter.
is them building something that lives up there, I know this is very sci-fi, but like a spaceship that goes up there and lives there, not living on a planet, living in that space where they're just chilling, and they can bring resources from the Earth back and forth on a ship that they're making like now. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they can create something like a satellite, but something that they can just sit there.
Found it? Then find a way to take it. The information on that laptop is invaluable. It's gonna tell us the perfect time to strike. Okay, when you're ready to proceed, I've scoped out a new train that should be suitable for us to use. If you can find the keys. I'll make sure there's no retaliation from the LSPD. Just a simple matter of rerouting some calls.
That they can just sit up there and be safe. They can go up and down. They can go.
Outspoken views and personal humility rattle considerably. Is expected to lie in state, allowing mourners to pay their respects. According to his will, Francis asked to be buried in a simple tomb at the Basilica of St. Mary Major, where his photos are now on display. The Pope's official residence has been sealed with a red ribbon and wax seal, marking the start of the grieving period. Notably, Francis never lived there, on display. The Pope's official residence has been sealed with a red ribbon and wax seal, marking the start of the grieving period. Notably, Francis never lived there. He preferred a more modest apartment at Casa Santa Marta, a Vatican guest house, which has also been sealed. A tradition which began to prevent looting, but now symbolizes the formal end of a papacy. And just hours before he died, the pontiff delivered the traditional holiday blessings on Easter Sunday, famous balcony of St. Peter. He also rode in the Pope Mobile, blessing babies as he moved through the crowd. Pope Francis was the first pope from Latin America, the first from the Jesuit order, and first to call himself Francis. CNN's chief international correspondent, Puss Ward, reports on a historic life and legacy.
The bells toll at St. Peter's in tribute to a pope who reshaped the Catholic Church. Pope Francis died from stroke and heart failure on Monday morning, the Vatican said. And as news broke of his passing, mourners poured into St. Peter's Square, united in their grief.
It's just a very sad day. It's honestly, I think, impressive that we made it to Easter. I think that's almost like a miracle for Italy.
Pretty much devastated all of us. Yeah, really sad.
It's a moment of a bit of sadness and at the same time thankfulness and celebration of life.
Outside the Pope's residence at Casa Santa Marta, prayers and shock.
I mean, yesterday we saw him in the square, in St. Peter's Square, and we knew he was sick, but nobody expected that he was going to die the day after.
Pope Francis had cut back on his duties this month after 5 weeks in the hospital this year. He battled life-threatening double pneumonia. But on Sunday, he'd been hard at work, meeting U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Before appearing on the balcony of St. Peter's, sick, frail, but determined to give his traditional Easter blessing. A move delighting the crowd gathered outside. For so, his ride through the square in his Pope Mobile, for the first time since leaving the hospital a month ago, stopping to bless the young, sick, and vulnerable. On Monday, though, the jubilation of the Catholic faithful turned into a global grief. Tributes praising his warmth, humility, and moral leadership in a troubled world. During his fall pontificate, President Macron said he was by the side of the most vulnerable, the most fragile. In the Pope's final weeks, he visited prisoners in a jail in Rome, and renewed calls in his final address for an end to the wars in Gaza, Ukraine, and Sudan.
He urged the world to invest in what he referred to as the weapons of peace, to help the most vulnerable, to fight hunger, to advance development.
Rosary prayers were said at the Vatican Monday night in honor of an extraordinary life that touched rich and poor across the world. Clarissa Ward, CNN, Rome.
Father Michael Duffy is the rector of the Cathedral of St. Agnes. He is with us from Rockville Centre, New York. Father, thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Glad to hear you, John.
Okay, so from the moment he became Pope, Francis worked in many ways to transform the papacy from the sort of formal leadership role to the untouchable, if you like, to a pastoral ministry. And he managed to have this sort of personal connection with, while reaching out to millions of people all at the same time. And that's sort of one reason why there's a sort of shared personal feeling of loss around the world. And I imagine that's being shared among your parishioners there as well, let's say.
Certainly, you know, whenever the Pope passes away, we feel it in a very personal way. We call him Holy Father, and we really do mean that he is our spiritual father on earth. And so throughout the day here, we've had so many people coming, many of them with tears in their eyes, to pray for our Holy Father. I'm just shocked because, as we just heard, we saw him in the square yesterday. We saw him on the balcony, and obviously he was not well. But as with any relative, as with any person that we love, it's still a shock when we lose them.
But this Pope seemed to have such a much more personal connection than previous popes, compared to Pope Benedict, for example, or Pope John Paul. The Pope Francis truly was, in so many ways, the Holy Father.
He really was. You know, I think we as Catholics, we don't make a distinction between the Holy Fathers in that way. They're all Holy Father, and we've come to love them each in different ways, with their different personalities, with their different styles. This Holy Father has been the Holy Father for the last 12 years, and he understood the power of the image in a particular way. He understood how to connect with people in a very powerful way. And because of the social media world, because of Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram, anyone that had a phone lifted it up and snapped pictures of him, and they would go viral
about him that I think was not seen, at least publicly, by in other popes. And he leaves behind at least a perception of a kinder, more caring, more forgiving Catholic Church. And that was a transformation which was driven by his own example and how he lived his life. Is that the road the Church will continue on, or does that depend on who is elected as his successor?
I think the Catholic Church seeks to be close to every person on the face of the earth. And that's the message of Jesus Christ. And I think our Holy Fathers, they have different personalities, like I said, and they have different emphases. And this Holy Father did a great job of being close to people, especially on the margins, of going out to people that might have been forgotten, of choosing and calling men from different parts of the world that have never been, for instance, cardinals. There's a cardinal of Mongolia, a cardinal from David, Panama. This Holy Father has called them into the center of the church because he wants to hear their voice. And I think that's certainly going to continue, because that's the call of Jesus Christ for the church.
Just watching the Holy Father from a distance, he always seemed to be very happy. He was a happy warrior who embraced life and all that came with it, the good, the challenges, the bad. So as someone who's met him, I think 5 times, is that how he came across in person? Is that how he was, when you met him?
Yeah, every single time I met the Holy Father, he was always personable. He was always interested in where we came from. I had the opportunity to be introduced to him, and a cardinal said to him, "Holy Father, this is Father Duffy from Rockville Centre." And he had no idea that Rockville Centre was from New York, nor should he. And he looked at me and he said, "Ireland, right?" I said, "No, Holy Father, New York." And then he came back at me and he said, "No, Duffy's from Ireland." I said, "Holy Father, many years ago, but I'm from New York." It was the only time I've ever seen the Holy Father to his face, you know. But he smiled, he laughed, he sort of gave me a real encouragement. And then he said, Father Duffy, please ask your people back home to pray for me. So I was able to come back from Rome to Long Island, New York, where I live, where I'm the rector of this cathedral, and make that personal appeal to the people here to say to them, the Pope asked you individually by name to pray for him. And it was a great connection that we had here with him because of that.
That's a great story to finish on, Father Duffy. Thank you for being with us. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
God bless, John.
Thank you.
Take care.
Well, the US President, First Lady, will travel to Rome for the Pope's funeral. On Monday, the President ordered US flags lowered to half-staff until Pope Francis is buried.
And despite past differences, President Trump spoke in praise of the late pontiff.
He was a good man, worked hard. He loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
Pope Francis met only once with Donald Trump face-to-face. That was in 2017, during Donald Trump's first term in office. But the two often clashed on issues of immigration, as well as climate change and the environment. Pope Francis, in his will, wanted to be buried in a simple tomb in a basilica, which held great personal significance to him. CNN's Nick Robertson has details.
As he lived, so Pope Francis wants to be remembered in death, with a relatively modest funeral. The pontiff picked his burial site 2 years ago, once a simple earthen grave.
Ya está preparado el lugar. Quiero ser enterrado en Santa María Mayor.
More than 1,500 years old, the papal basilica Santa Maria Maggiore, sometimes known as Our Lady of the Snows, is a humbler pick than the traditional resting place of many popes, the gilded St. Peter's Basilica. Basilica Santa Maria Maggiore was big in Pope Francis' life. Before and after every overseas trip, he'd visit the Salius Pontile Romani, a much venerated image of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The Vatican has just 5 to 7 days to make the preparations before Francis' funeral must take place. And despite Francis' wish for a modest send-off, it is his humble characteristic that may make organizing his funeral even more challenging. His humility made him hugely popular. His death may draw many to the Vatican. Over the coming 4 days, the pontiff is expected to first lay in rest in the Sistine Chapel, then the Clementine Chapel for private visitations, before laying in state inside St. Peter's Basilica, where the public will be able to come pay their respects. The last Pope's funeral, Benedict XVI, 2 years ago, drew close to 200,000 mourners, was elaborate. But as he died almost a decade after he abdicated, comparisons are hard to make. The last Pope to die in office was Pope John Paul II in 2005. He had a very elaborate funeral. So many world leaders wanted to come, nations were limited to 5 places each. Italy and his native Poland granted rare exceptions. An estimated 300,000 people attended in St. Peter's Square. 15 to 20 days from now, the process of picking a new pope begins, known as the Conclave of Cardinals. 120 of the Church's 252 cardinals convenes in private. They remain isolated until Francis' successor is agreed. It may take almost 2 weeks. White smoke will signal success. A new pope is announced. Nick Robertson, CNN, London.
Our coverage of the death of Pope Francis continues here on CNN in a moment, but later this hour, how Francis worked to make the Catholic Church more welcoming to everyone. Plus another stock market sell-off after one of these guys called the other one a major loser. No prizes for guessing which one. The numbers after the break.
Visionaries in association with Hyundai.
Emma's journey to one of the most coveted positions in football, manager of the iconic Olympic gold medal winning US women's national team, began simply
with a love of the game.
What was it about football that drew you to it as a game, but equally that you saw had such an ability to do more than just be a game?
I just don't know anything else. My mum was asked this the other day when someone said, when did Emma start playing? And she said the minute she came out of my womb. I was the kid that would come home from school, drop my school bag, run down to the pitch, play till 10 o'clock at night, stop for dinner. My dad has always been at the heart of that. I think watching a lot of football Italia, all of those things, I couldn't imagine a life without football. I just couldn't.
Nothing is handed to you in the women's game. I want to help women's football grow. To show women can be involved in all aspects of the game. We've been supporting the Women's World Cup. I hope to see more women play. And more young girls dreaming big. Because when we raise the bar, we inspire the future.
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that rocking can truly improve lives.
Sitting is the new smoking. A sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. That's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief, and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking.
My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful. Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 40% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus smart strap to secure your Ready Rocker and the Ready Rocker protective cover.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 1-800-774-1914. Go to buyreadyrocker.com. That's 1-800-774-1914 or go to buyreadyrocker.com. Call now.
This is new GLP-1, and this is Marcos.
I'm getting to where I want to be. I'm very confident that I'm going to be able to continue and really make a true lifestyle change. I'm Marcos, and I've lost 8 pounds so far with Noom.
Get started at Noom.com.
I'm Nick Roberts, and this is CNN. Downtown in Paris went dark Monday night to mark the death of Pope Francis. Mayor of Paris also wants to name a public place after Francis. In the coming days, the most senior figures within the Catholic Church will make their way to the Vatican for the conclave, a secret process steeped in tradition by which a new pope will be chosen. CNN Sigma explains how it all works.
A new pope to lead the world's 1.4 billion Catholics will be chosen by just around 130 cardinals in a mysterious, many centuries old rite, conclave, with keys.
They're locked in the Vatican, and all their phones are taken away. They're not allowed to communicate with the outside world until they elect a pope.
Now, Every cardinal under the age of 80 is summoned to Rome for this and must swear an oath of secrecy, punishable by excommunication.
It's a secret ballot. The cardinals don't even know who voted for whom.
Father Reese says the movie Conclave got it almost right.
You have to commit to a side.
Except a secretly elected cardinal would never be allowed in, and the cardinals' robes were slightly the wrong color.
I think Hollywood got it better than the Catholic Church. I like the deeper red.
By day, the cardinals will sit in silence and prayer in the Sistine Chapel under Michelangelo's magnificent ceiling. 2 votes in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, until one candidate wins 2/3 of the ballots. By night, they stay in a boarding house nearby where the horse trading happens late into the evening.
Different cardinals will go around pushing for the candidate that they would like to see become pope. Your friends have to do that for you. You cannot do that yourself. That would indicate a level of pride that would be unacceptable in a pope.
The Pope just has to be male and Catholic, but since 1389, the cardinals have always elected one of their own. After every inconclusive round of votes, the smoke from the chapel chimney is black. Ballots are burned with some chemicals thrown in to create the color. When a new pope is chosen, the smoke is white. At the last conclave, there was a problem.
The Monsignor in charge of the stove didn't follow the directions, and the smoke came out gray, and everybody in St. Peter's Square was scratching their heads.
So they rang the biggest bell in the square as well.
And as soon as you see it swinging, you know it's over.
The new pope chooses a name and is ushered to the Room of Tears.
And in that room, they will have 3 sets of papal garments, the white cassock that the Pope wears. One small, one medium, and one large.
For the new pope to wear when he walks out onto that famous balcony in St. Peter's Square. So the conclave will convene in just a little over 2 months. Took nearly 3 years. That was to elect Pope Gregory X. Recent years, it's more likely 2 or 3 days. That's going to become the norm. Now, the fact that there's no clear front runner, that might add a little time. Something that might take away a little time is 80% of these electors, these cardinals, were appointed by Pope Francis. So there's a decent chance they might be on a similar page. And remember, these cardinals are not just choosing the next pope, they're essentially also choosing the direction that the church is going to take over the next few years. Nick Watt, CNN, Los Angeles.
When we come back here on CNN and look back at the life of the world's first Latin American pope, how Pope Francis lived a life of service from an early age.
Space. Final frontier. Alongside the super heavy rockets we see in the news, there's a race to create more nimble craft that can provide a more bespoke service. And there are a few places that race is more clearly evident than the old shipbuilding city of Glasgow.
Around the central belt of Scotland, there's more satellites made anywhere in the world outside of Silicon Valley.
At the moment, Skyrora is test launching its 11-metre Skylark L rocket, gaining valuable data from the development of its main rocket, the 23-metre Skyrora XL.
A big advancement has been 3D printing. The engines we looked at before on Black Arrow and Blue Steel, they are manufactured using traditional manufacturing techniques, whereas our engines are manufactured using 3D printing, which helps to save a lot of money and a lot of time.
Lunch is on me today. Awesome. Why? It's extra cash right now. That's not even the upside. The free pass that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. Wait, are you saying you get real money back when you get gas with the upside? Yes, I get real cash back every time I get gas. This doesn't actually add up to anything. I'll make around $200 to $300. Wow, that's serious extra cash. Right? You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? It's like free money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now. Use this promo code and get an extra 25 cents a gallon cash bonus on your first tank. Thanks.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year.
$5 grand. That's crazy. If you tried, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right, you can earn real cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. Download the free Upside app now. Earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REPAIR25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank.
Did you download the Upside app yet?
Yes, of course. I'm not passing up free money. I'm earning real cash back now every time I get gas.
Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REPAIR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. If you drive, you need Upside. Earn cash back on every gallon of gas you buy. Plus, you can cash out anytime right your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. So, whether you're driving around town a couple times a week or driving hundreds of miles every day, Upside is for you. Don't wait. Some Upside users are making as much as $200 to $300. Download the free Upside app and use promo code REPAIR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code REPAIR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Do you have a box of videotapes, film reels, or photos that aren't grading? Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud. Legacy Box is simple and safe. With over 1 million satisfied customers. Visit LegacyBox.com today to get our $9 offer.
This is CNN. You will get their news from CNN and any other news source.
This combo meal's got combinations. Make this thing your own creation. Entree, drinking, choice of size. Oh, and it's free to swap fries.
We've all gotten good at stirring the pot. You know, maybe we find time for a little pot luck. Yes, bring those red beans with the andouille, bring pastas and kielbasas, and seriously, we all can't just get along for a few hours? That's a crock. You just gotta go gloves on, Johnsonville in, finger pointing off, and keep it juicy.
For World Sports, I'm Amanda Davis, and this is CNN.
Donald Trump's ongoing criticism and name-calling of Fed Chair Jerome Powell, as well as a lack of trade deal with Japan, are weighing down U.S. financial markets. The Dow, S&P 500, the Nasdaq all tumbled about 2.5% Monday. And with no end in sight to the Trump trade war, the dollar slumped to its lowest level versus foreign currencies in more than 3 years. Much of the sell-off came after the president vented on social media. He was angered about Jerome Powell's refusal to cut official interest rates. Here's part of the post. With these costs trending so nicely downward, just what I predicted they would do, there could almost be no inflation, but there can be a slowing of the economy unless Mr. Too Late, that'd be Jerome Powell, a major loser, Jerome Powell, lowers interest rates now. I'd like to take over CNN's Hanako Montgomery. Yeah, what can you say? Still no trade. The White House won't even name the other 68 countries, which make up the 70 countries so keen to make a deal. And then on top of that, you've got this feud between Jerome Powell, who's actually staying silent.
Some surveillance images should be coming through now. These are our targets. Your last visit will be fresh in this group's mind. If you thought they were tough before, wait until you show up for round 2. I've been keeping track of a few gangs with varying loadouts, and they should all have plenty of weapons and equipment. We need 1 cache of weapons and 1 stash of gear. Whomever you choose to raid remains your choice. Just be sure to leave with weapons, masks, and armor that can't be traced to us.
hint of him being fired is adding to this uncertainty.
Yeah, John, I mean, you're exactly right there. There's so much uncertainty, and trading partners of the United States are really just concerned about the strength of the U.S. economy and how independent the Federal Reserve can be. Now, you saw those concerns reflected in stock markets across Asia today. We saw the Nikkei 225, the benchmark index in Japan, open about 0.4% lower. It's now trading about flat right now. And also that's followed by South Korea's benchmark index, the Kospi, that opened about 0.34% lower today as well. And markets in Asia are really quite subdued. They haven't really been reflecting as significant losses as many experts were predicting. But of course, that's really followed by the very massive losses we saw on Wall Street on Monday following the U.S. president's comments about the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, calling him a big loser, as you just described there, John. Now, even though these comments are quite harsh, they're not all that surprising, given the fact that Trump has previously flirted with the idea is another ousting the chairman from his position because he won't cut interest rates. Now, whether or not Trump actually has the legal ability to oust Jerome Powell from his position is another debate altogether here, John. But really, Asian partners and trading partners across the world are concerned about these latest comments because, as you described, the U.S. Federal Reserve is supposed to be an independent body that helps shape the U.S.'s monetary policy. And economists warn that if the Federal Reserve doesn't have that same independence, then it might not be able to cut prices and regulate prices as well as it's done in the past. Now, compounding all of this, as you described there, John, is the fact that this comes just weeks after Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, sweeping tariffs that we saw hit many of the U.S.'s trading partners and also foes as well. And even though there's been a 90-day pause on those tariffs, we're already seeing some economic impact, especially here in the region. For instance, in South Korea, according to the latest customs data, exports from South Korea to the United States fell about 14.3% in the first 20 days of April compared to data from last year. And overall, exports from South Korea to other parts of the world also fell 5.2% compared to data from last year. So, John, really, as the U.S.'s trading partners are scrambling to find a solution, scrambling to find just some kind of deal that they can strike with the U.S. president and the U.S. economy, there really is a lot of uncertainty in these markets and also in these respective countries' economies, and really just no end in sight here about just how they can really benefit their own country while also maintaining very good ties with the U.S. here. John.
Hanneke, thank you. Hanneke will copy there live for us. Thank you. With that, we'll take a short pause. You're watching. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its patented Rock Perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, boost circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being, no matter where you are. Lightweight, portable, and covered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
From soothing babies to helping with posture, back pain, and stress, we discovered that rocking can truly improve lives.
Sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief, and I'm in a better mood.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking. My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Thousands are finding relief with Ready Rocker, and now you can too. For a limited time, you can get Ready Rocker for just 4 easy payments of only $29.99. Call now, and we'll include the Smart Strap to secure and carry your Ready Rocker, and this protective cover, a $40 value free. Plus, we'll even ship it to you for free. That's an incredible value for the low price you see on your screen. So don't delay. Order today.
Call 1-800-801-2976 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. That's 1-800-801-2976 or go to GetReadyRocker.com. Call now.
Huh.
Noom has GLP-1 meds now?
Yes, Noom combines medication with healthy habits so you can lose the weight and keep it off.
Yeah.
Wasn't always popular with Argentina's politicians.
Yeah, and a stroke. He was 88 years old. His body is expected to lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica as early as Wednesday. The Pope's official residence and personal apartment have been sealed by the Vatican, symbolizing the formal end of his pontificate. U.S. financial markets will look to rebound after another sharp sell-off. The Dow, S&P, and Nasdaq all closed down about 2.5% after Donald Trump called Fed Chair Jerome Powell a major loser. The U.S. president is pushing Powell to cut official interest rates. Harvard University is suing the Trump administration for freezing more than $2 billion in federal funding. The school says efforts to control its academic programs violate its constitutional rights. The White House claims Harvard has not done enough to curb anti-Semitism on campus. In Buenos Aires, Catholics gathered Monday to celebrate the life and service of Pope Francis as countries across the regions declared national days of mourning for the first Pope in Latin America. The Archbishop of Buenos Aires praised Francis for boldly facing some of the Church's biggest problems.
He put on the table and didn't hide the need for transparency in the Church, the need for reforms in the Church that were longed for. Maybe for this reason he was so criticized, because he didn't quiet the problems, but put them on the table. He didn't hide them or make them up, but proposed humanity take charge of them.
Flowers, candles, and thank you letters in honor of the Pope were left outside the Metropolitan Cathedral in Buenos Aires. Football badges were also among the mementos, a sign of the Pontiff's love of the beautiful game. CNN's Christopher Lamb recounts the Pontiff's early days in Argentina and the legacy he now leaves behind.
A quote from the end of the earth.
Francis was the first Latin American pontiff, the first from Argentina. A native of Buenos Aires, much of his life spent in the Argentine capital, shaping him as a future pope. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the grandson of Italian immigrants, he had an ordinary childhood, growing up playing soccer, developing a love of literature, and going to school to study chemistry. In a memoir, he writes he had a childhood infatuation with a little girl in Flores, the Pope sending her a letter with a promise.
He said to me, if I don't marry you, I'll become a priest.
Francis, true to his word, first training for the priesthood and then joining the Jesuit order, quickly identified as a rising star. He was chosen to lead the Jesuits in Argentina at the young age of 36. It was a time of turmoil in his country during the brutal military dictatorship. Bergoglio was accused of not doing enough to help 2 Jesuits kidnapped by the regime. He denied this and insisted he helped people escape. But disagreements over his leadership style saw the Jesuits send Bergoglio into exile to this residence in Cordoba, central Argentina. He went through a dark night of the soul and later admitted to making many mistakes. A lesson in humility. Eventually he was tapped to become a bishop and cardinal in Buenos Aires. He focused his time among the poorest communities.
He told me clearly, look, I said, I'm going to be a priest because my goal is to be at the service of the people. That's why I love going to the slums. That's why I'm going to the heart of the country.
Adopting a simple lifestyle, similar to the one he had as Pope, never owning a car and using the subway to get around. He wanted a church open to all and focused on those on the margins. In the annual run-up to Easter, he would often wash the feet of prisoners, something he continued as pontiff.
His legacy is about this matter of a church open, a church inclusive, a church that is for all, not of a little group of perfect people, but this is a pope who speaks to everybody and to speak especially to the people, to the sinners.
Despite his position, Francis tried not to take himself too seriously, loving to crack a joke, whether with world leaders or groups of children.
Mucha alegría, muy buen humor.
He has a great sense of humor. I think he got that from my father. When he had to be firm for something, he was, but with good humor.
But relations with his homeland weren't always easy. He never managed to visit home after becoming Pope in 2013. He was unafraid to criticize those in power and wasn't always popular with Argentina's politicians. The first Latin American Pope chosen to lead the Catholic Church leaves a lasting impression. A pontiff who came from the ends of the earth and called on the Church to go out to the peripheries. What he began in Argentina, he continued during his papacy. Christopher Lamb, CNN.
An embattled U.S. Defense Secretary facing one crisis after another, leading to what some say is a Pentagon meltdown under his leadership. Details when we come back.
Weight loss medications you can actually afford? Yes. If you qualify at Selfie, providers can prescribe GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Wegovy that are 90% less expensive, all 100% online, shipped directly to your door. That's right, GLP-1s for as little as $25 a month, shipped directly to your door. No more doctor's visits and waiting in line at the pharmacy. Just text the word TOOL to 200-300 right now and see if you qualify at Selfie for medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and other GLP-1s for as little as $25 a month. With or without insurance, Selfie makes getting GLP-1 medications affordable and accessible, up to 90% less expensive. Just connect with a Selfie provider right on your phone and get treatment options so you can find the right medication for your budget and your goals. And Selfie is 100% online. No doctor's visit needed or trip to the pharmacy. So don't wait. Text TOOL to 200-300 to get started with Selfie today. Text TOOL to 200-300. That's TOOL to 200-300.
Do you have a box of videotapes, film reels, or photos that are degrading? Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud. Legacy Box is simple and safe, with over 1 million satisfied customers. Visit legacybox.com.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper is a 5-time Emmy winner for long-form journalism. This week, Abby Phillip explores the first 100 days of the second Trump presidency. The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday on CNN.
Among the tributes for Pope Francis are messages from former US presidents, all of whom met with the pontiff. Joe Biden wrote on social media expressing great sadness. Writing, quote, Pope Francis will be remembered as one of the most consequential leaders of our time. I'm better having known him. He went on to write, and above all, he was a pope for everyone. He was the people's pope, a light of faith, hope, and love. Former US President Barack Obama, remembering the Pope as, quote, the rare leader who made us want to be better people. Obama went on to write, may we continue to heed his call to never remain on the sidelines of this march of living. US President Donald Trump denies there's any dysfunctioning at the Pentagon, just to change gears here, despite his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth coming under fire for sharing military plans on a second signal group chat, this time with members of his family. Details out from CNN's Natasha Bertrand.
Sources tell us that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth shared details about the U.S.'s military operation against the Houthis in a second signal chat last month, this one on his personal phone, and that included his wife, lawyer, and his brother. The chat included over a dozen people and was set up during the confirmation process as a way for him to strategize with some of his closest advisors, but he continued to use it after he was confirmed to discuss things related to the military. Hegseth's lawyer and his brother both have jobs at DoD now, but his wife does not, and it's not clear whether she has a security clearance. There is also already an Inspector General review ongoing into Hegseth's use of Signal, and sources told CNN over the weekend that Hegseth has become increasingly concerned about that probe in recent weeks. But at least publicly, Hegseth is projecting confidence. He told reporters on Monday that the leaks were coming from, quote, disgruntled former employees.
See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me.
News of the second signal chat broke around the same time that Hegseth's former top spokesperson, John Olliott, wrote a scathing op-ed for Politico saying that the Pentagon under Hegseth is in, quote, total chaos. Olliott wrote that, quote, it's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better from his senior leadership. It's hard to see Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth remaining in his role for much longer. Elliott's reference there to mass firings has to do with Hegseth's decision to fire 3 senior Pentagon officials last week, including 2 of his closest longtime advisors, Dan Caldwell and Darren Selnick. We were told that the firings came after weeks of infighting between Hegseth's aides, including his chief of staff, and press leaks that rattled Hegseth so much that at one point he actually demanded an FBI investigation. His aides advised against that because they argued it might only invite further scrutiny at a time when he's already under investigation for his use of Signal. Natasha Bertrand, CNN in Washington.
Julia Camp is a CNN senior national security analyst. She's faculty chair of Homeland Security at Harvard University and a former assistant secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so here's a little more of the Secretary of Defense speaking Monday on why the media is to blame for all of the problems at the Pentagon. Period.
This is what we're doing it for. These kids right here. This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats. This is why we're fighting hoaxsters. Hoaxsters. This group right here, full of hoaxsters that peddle anonymous sources from leakers with access to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. But you know exactly what it is. So I'm really proud of what we're doing for the president. We're fighting hard across the board, and I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids.
The Defense Secretary is clearly under stress right now, but what do you think of his demeanor and his tone in that?
I mean, he doesn't seem capable of running the Pentagon right now. That was a lashing out. It was an odd tone. He doesn't seem to be honestly fully in control of his emotions. We need a Secretary of Defense who is focused on the defense of the United States rather than the defense of our interests. This is a man who's focused on pettiness and surviving in this job. I personally do not think he will last very long, not simply because of his demeanor, but because of the allegations he does not deny about various signal chats, unrest in the front office, and his inability to get support amongst the highest military leaders in this country.
Well, the headline from an op-ed in Politico, it was written by a former Pentagon spokesperson, is pretty blunt. Here it is. The last month has been a full-blown meltdown at the Pentagon, and it's becoming a real problem for the administration. Now, in just 86 minutes. As Defense Secretary, Hegseth has used an unauthorized, unsecure messenger app called Signal to share details of a military strike on Houthi rebels at least once, reportedly twice. 3 senior Pentagon aides have been fired, accused of leaking, at least 2 planned legal action for unfair dismissal. Hegseth's chief of staff has been transferred to another job within the department. There's also Elon Musk allegedly planning on attending a classified briefing on plans for a hypothetical war with China. And then last week, Hegseth snubbed the French Armed Forces minister by not greeting him on arrival at the Pentagon. Yeah, it seems you've really got to try hard to screw up that much in such a short period of time. How is this actually possible?
Yeah, you have to be unqualified for the job, and that shouldn't surprise anyone. Hegseth, as you and I have discussed before, did not have the temperament, the skills, the management history, nor the intellectual depth to run this Pentagon, to run a major institution that defends the United States. The fact that we know that now should not be a surprise. The irony of that editorial is that it starts within the last month. They haven't even been in power for 3 months. This is a third of his time as leader. He cannot control his own staff. He cannot manage the major issues of our time, and he cannot get the support of the military leaders that he needs as their leader. And it's a nightmare that was utterly predictable when he was nominated and Senate Republicans voted for him.
Yeah, so much for the first 100 days, huh? And while most look at a Pentagon right now lurching from one crisis to the next, the US president does not. There he is.
Yeah. President, are you concerned about the level of chaos and dysfunction that's being described at your Pentagon?
There's no dysfunction. Ask the Houthis how much dysfunction there is. None. Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends with you guys.
The White House is also denying an NPR report that Hegseth may soon be out of a job. Fake news, apparently. But at this point, why wouldn't they be considered dumping him? How much damage is being done to a Pentagon run by a man who just isn't up to the job, but also dangerously incompetent?
I mean, there's a lot of damage, and you're seeing it. The irony, of course, is Donald Trump says, you know, he's there to weed out all the wokeness and all the bad people. The people that left are Donald Trump's people. These are MAGA Republicans who came in to try to support Hegseth and find even Hegseth is not worthy of their support, and they have left. So this isn't outsiders trying to bring down Hegseth. It's Trump's own team. Look, Trump will get rid of him. And I say that confidently because for two reasons. One is it's taking the attention away from Donald Trump. He doesn't like too many headlines that aren't about him. And the second is you are starting to hear murmurs within the Republican Party that this is too messy even for them. And once they have a name that they will put forward, I believe that Hegseth will have a very short tenure. This is just not sustainable even for the Trump White House, given the threats that exist.
And I should say, all of it entirely predicted and predictable. And Juliet, as always, good to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
The pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong bracing for yet another significant blow, with one of the most prominent opposition parties disbanding and closing down, citing pressure from Beijing and a security crackdown which is making dissent virtually impossible. CNN's Christian Roussel has details.
The party will soon be over. Hong Kong's largest opposition group, the Democratic Party, had long been a symbol of the city's freedoms. But amid a national security crackdown, it will soon be no more.
This is not what we wanted to see.
At the handover in '97, Beijing promised Hong Kong 50 years of one country, two systems autonomy. In the wake of the 2019 protests, pressure on the city's freedoms intensified. This new reality has been shaped by a national security law imposed by Beijing, electoral reform to make sure that only pro-China patriots govern Hong Kong, and a second security law passed last year.
It's very, very sad. And we've been around for over 30 years, and we've got the support of many Hong Kong people. And it's very sad that we have to close down.
Lau is a veteran lawmaker and former Democratic Party chair. She's dressed in the color of the pro-democracy movement.
I hope I won't get arrested for wearing yellow.
For more than 3 decades, Lau has been advocating for Hong Kong's democracy. These days, she visits her colleagues in detention or facing trial.
We will carry on. Maybe one day I will disappear. I may get arrested, thrown into jail or whatever. But it has to go on. Not that we want a revolution. We are not saying we're fighting for independence of Hong Kong or secession. No. We are fighting for the Chinese government to keep the promises of one country, two systems, the basic law, and the Sino-British Joint Declaration. And what is wrong with that?
The crackdown has drawn international ire. The Hong Kong government repeatedly says the rights and freedoms enjoyed by the people is protected under law. The Democratic Party recently marked its 30th anniversary, just months before the party called its own future into question.
If it has to happen, it happens. But the game is not over. And the struggle goes on.
The game is not over, but the party will come to an end. Christian Roussel, CNN, Hong Kong.
Thank you for watching CNN Newsroom. I'm John Bors. Please stay with us. I'll be back with more news after a very short break. the famous balcony at St. Peter's. He also rode in the Pope-mobile, blessing babies as he moved slowly through the crowd. With the death of Francis, it's been felt by so many around the world. It's the 1.4 billion Catholics who are grieving for the Holy Father. CNN's Ben Wheeler reports on how Catholics are mourning and honouring Pope Francis around the world.
Bells tolled across the Vatican as thousands flocked to St. Peter's Square to pay homage to Pope Francis, moments after the announcement of his passing.
La morte del no. At 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the house of the Father.
Those bells soon echoing around the world. In Paris, at
my hair is still wet.
The best pope of the era.
To the heart of London,
A huge amount of people.
to Bethlehem, the birthplace of Christianity itself.
We would pray for him, and we love him so much.
For the 88-year-old people's martyr, grief now touching those he touched, traveling the globe much as he did, a reflection of the paths he took as he sought to bring comfort. In the Congo, where his 2023 visit was the first for the papacy in nearly 40 years.
May God welcome the soul, because the Pope really cared about us.
To the Philippines, where in 2015 more than 6 million gathered in Manila to get a glimpse of the prayer.
Bilang aming mga kabataan din, for the youth like us, it's such a big role.
A role model that transcended borders, seeking to bridge politics and the humanitarian promises he made more than trips to points all over the globe.
Let us pray for the whole world. Let us have a deep brotherhood.
He set the tone for his pontificate in his first speech, and for the dozen years to follow, known for humility, service, tolerance. A pope of firsts, the first modern-day pope born outside of Europe, and the first Jesuit to lead the Holy See.
Que te ayude a construir la hoy is peace. Let us ask him to help us to be peacemakers each day in our life, in our families, in our cities and nations, in the whole world.
A peace he sought in the midst of war in Gaza, speaking almost nightly to the parish priest of the enclave's tiny Christian community before falling ill. That message uniting the world, at least for a moment, as world leaders offer their condolences, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, posting to X, he knew how to give hope, ease suffering through prayer, and foster unity, unifying even those in world in a shared reverence.
Pope has done a lot, not only for his flock, but for the world in general.
Even President Trump lowering flags to have mass in honor of the Catholic leader, despite their differing views on immigration.
He was a good man, worked hard. He loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Rome.
Live now to CNN's Jim Bitterman standing by in Paris. And Jim has covered 5 popes in his reporting career, so he is somewhat of an expert. And Jim, this pope who lived a humble life, he's bringing that sense of humility to his funeral as well, sort of scaling back some of the excesses that we've seen in the past.
Exactly, and I think one of the main ones we're seeing, John, is the fact that he has purposely said he wants to be buried in the Church of Santa Maria Maggiore. There are 7 popes who are buried there. It's kind of exceptional for a pope to be buried there. The most popes are buried beneath the St. Peter's Basilica, and he said that he liked that church. He was a great believer in the spirituality of Mary and a believer of Mary. And so this church, which is dedicated to Mary, in fact, is something that he wanted to do. He wanted to be buried there in a very simple way, in a grave that's going to be have very little marking or ornamentation to it. He's already picked the spot out. In any case, yes, I think it's you could see the tributes pouring in here in France, for example. There were bells, as Ben pointed out, the bells at Notre Dame rang 88 times yesterday for each of his 88 years. The Eiffel Tower was darkened last evening, unlike what we'd see on most typical evenings here in Paris. And around the world, and there are tributes everywhere. It's a lot in Latin America. There will be days of mourning, including in places like communist Cuba, and other places where the Pope was definitely celebrated and remembered very fondly. John?
So, Jim, in your experience, talk about how this Pope, through his example, through his life, through his example and his personality, really brought about at least the perception of change within the Catholic Church. There's no changes to doctrine, but certainly the Catholic Church under his leadership had a very big makeover, if you like.
Well, yes, it did. And I think that especially coming off Pope Benedict, who preceded him and retired, in fact, Pope Francis was a real contrast. And one of the things was his openness to all sorts of things in modern, for example, his use of the telephone to call up people. I know of reporters that were called directly by the Pope, and without reference to any of the Vatican's usual public relations people. There are a number of instances where he was out. He went out and got his own glasses, for example, at a local optician in Rome. So, I mean, he was just an open, sort of honest and direct person, which I think was refreshing, because the trappings of the Vatican can be very seductive for somebody like a pope who is adored as the ultimate leader of 1.4 billion people. It's very easy to fall into the trap of listening to those around you and the applause of those around you. But Francis managed to avoid that and stay humble and just a figure of humility, as you mentioned.
Yeah, not a red Prada slipper in sight for his time as Pope. Jim Bitterman, it's very good to see you, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Yep.
Dawn Eden Goldstein is a Catholic theologian, canon lawyer, and author, and she joins us now live from Washington. Thank you for staying up.
Well, thank you so much for having me on and giving me this opportunity to speak about Pope Francis.
Well, grateful for you to be here. Now, for many, one of the most memorable moments in Francis' time as Pope was this.
A person with homosexual tendencies is a believer and seeks God. Who am I to judge?
Who am I to judge? It was such an historic moment. With just 5 words, he conveyed this deep sense of personal humility and compassion, which we'd never seen from a Pope before.
That's right. And I remember myself when he said that, because I was in my graduate theological studies and I was being taught by Dominicans, who are one of the more conservative orders, and I had received quite a bit of education on what the Church says no to. And here was a Pope who was emphasizing the positive, emphasizing the yes, emphasizing Jesus' love for every person.
Yeah, and his time as Pope, though, left some progressives disappointed for not implementing major reform within the Church, not changing doctrine. It angered many conservatives for going too far. It seems, ultimately, he kind of charted his own course, really, didn't he?
Yes, he very much did. He was not somebody who wanted this job. He was expecting to go back to Argentina, as he had done at the previous conclave when he was one of the cardinals who elected Benedict XVI. So he was not ambitious. He chose the name Francis on the spur of the moment when an elderly cardinal said to him, "Don't forget the poor." And that was the heart that he brought to everything he did, a heart for the poor, the marginalized, people who felt excluded.
And to this end, on issues like women in the Church, he wasn't in favor of ordaining women as priests. But on the other hand, the Vatican now has more women in positions of power than ever before. So there was always this yin and a yang sort of going on with Francis.
Oh, very much so. In Francis's first major interview, the one where he was saying that although issues such as abortion are important, we shouldn't be speaking about them all the time, he also affirmed that, in his own words, he said, "I am a son of the Church." So he kind of held those two things in tension, where on the one hand, he was open to a great deal of change, and on the other hand, he wanted to be careful to preserve doctrine. But the key to understanding him is understanding that he had a priest's heart, a pastor's heart, and where he couldn't change doctrine, he wanted to change and open up pastoral practice.
There's still this ongoing struggle within the church of sexual abuse of children by clergy. Critics say he did little more than PR and spin, saying what sounded moral and right without pushing for any real accountability. Where does it stand on this?
I think that's a harsh judgment. I think that in future generations, historians will see many points at which he did call for greater accountability. With that said, Francis was educated in a generation where priests were not taught the type of accountability that's really demanded in today's climate. So we can certainly hope that with the next pope and with future popes, there will be a greater understanding, a greater cognizance of specific steps that the church has to take to make sure that children and vulnerable adults are protected, and that everyone is protected and welcome in the church.
Well, thank you for being with us. It's so good to have you up late at night to speak with us on your thoughts on Pope Francis. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Pope is set to canonize the world's first millennial saint this Sunday, but that's obviously been delayed now. Carlo Acutis will receive the honor. He died of leukemia back in 2006, just 15 years old. Becoming a saint requires 2 miracles credited to that individual, and prayers to the teenager are said to have healed a Brazilian boy of pancreatic illness and a woman from Costa Rica who was nearly killed in a bicycle accident. Still to come here on CNN, Pope Francis, critical of the Trump administration's policies towards migrants and border walls. More on the relationship there and how the US president is remembering Pope Francis. Also, another stock market sell-off after one of these guys called the other one a major loser. No prizes for guessing who. The numbers after the break.
Excellence on your journey. X to Sport. Kumotime.
Are you sitting right now? It could be harming your health. Back pain, stress, and serious health risks can build up from sitting too long. But motion changes everything. Introducing Ready Rocker with its perfect design that supports your spine as it helps improve posture, relieve back pain, improve circulation, and release endorphins for your overall well-being. No matter where you are, lightweight, portable, and tempered in memory foam, Ready Rocker instantly transforms any chair or space into a healthier sitting experience.
Sitting too long isn't just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. With Ready Rocker, we make sitting a healthier experience for people of all ages.
Having babies, they learn posture, their pain and stress. We discover that rocking can truly improve sitting.
Sedentary lifestyle, whether you're sitting at a desk or in a vehicle all day, is not good for the body to just stay in that same position. And that's why the Ready Rocker is so effective. The rocking motion constantly keeps you active and helps you ease pain, reduces stress. It's a mood booster.
I used to be in pain all the time, but with Ready Rocker, I felt relief, and I'm in a better mood. I take it everywhere.
I can literally feel the stress being taken off my joints while rocking. My back stopped hurting, my arthritis felt better. It's just wonderful.
Now you can join the movement that's changing lives and helping thousands find relief. Call now or go online to get 40% off your purchase. We'll even ship it for free. Plus, you'll get this bonus smart strap to secure your Ready Rocker and the Ready Rocker protective cover.
Ready Rocker is changing lives one rock at a time.
Now it's your turn to experience the relief for yourself.
Call 1-800-774-1914 or go to buyreadyrocker.com. That's 1-800-774-1914 or go to buyreadyrocker.com. Call now.
Lunch is on me today.
Awesome. Why?
I have some extra cash right now. I started using Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, are you saying you get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash.
Right? You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? It's like free money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now. Use this promo code and get an extra 25 cents a gallon cash bonus on your first tank. Thanks.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. Download the free Upside app now. Earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REPAIR25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank.
Did you download the Upside app yet? Yes, of course. I'm not passing up free money. I'm earning real cash back now every time I get gas.
Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REPAIR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. If you drive, you need Upside. Earn cash back on every gallon of gas you buy. Plus, you can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. So whether you're driving around town a couple times a week or driving hundreds of miles every day, Upside is for you. Don't wait. Some Upside users are making as much as $200 to $300. Download the free Upside app and use promo code REPAIR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code REPAIR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I'm Melissa Bell in Paris, and this is CNN.
The US president has spoken of Pope Francis as a good man and a hard worker, adding the pontiff's death is a personal tragedy for Catholics around the world. CNN's Jeff Zeleny has more now reporting in from the White House.
President Trump saying Monday that he and First Lady Melania Trump will travel to Rome for the funeral at the Vatican for Pope Francis. The president is praising Pope Francis as a man who did good work, not speaking Monday about the really a contention that was the basis of much of their relationship over immigration, over building walls. But the president said he lowered flags at half-staff here at the White House to honor Pope Francis.
I just signed an executive order putting the flags of our country, all of them, all federal flags and state flags at half-mast in honor of Pope Francis. So he was a good man, worked hard, he loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
And the president saying positive words, remembering the legacy of Pope Francis, even talking about the Catholic vote that President Trump said he won in 2024. Of course, he split that with the nation's second Catholic president, Joe Biden, in 2020. But again, it was that immigration policy that really caused much consternation between Pope Francis and the president, really dating back many years. But I'm remembering back to 2017 when President Trump visited Pope Francis.
How you doing in that box? Under the circumstances, your customary silence is a little concerning. Should I have added air holes? Cluck twice if you're in trouble. Okay, good. Now remember, when you burst out of that crate, you'll be in the heart of that operation. How you choose to use the element of surprise is up to you. This is it. Good luck. You're gonna be busy once you're inside the factory, so it behooves you to split into two groups. One covers the cocaine, and the other loops the safe. Don't forget the extra equipment you sourced if you feel something else would be more effective. I've bribed some friends in the Department of Sanitation to leave it in the dumpster to the rear of the factory. Heads up. They're flooding the cow roof for reports of an intruder.
Cocaína. La cocaína.
cocaine. Again, using her identity as a trans woman to hurt men because they're attracted to her. Suicide. If you really believe you're a woman and men are jumping into your DMs, what is there to expose? You're a woman. If you're exposing men for being attracted, does that mean you believe you're a man? Look at the type of showing off, looking good. She's saying certain crowds of men and then getting mad because they want something to drink. Who's shaming men for liking her? That sounds like self-hate to me. What Vidya is doing is not self-aware. She's actually embarrassing trans women and pushing men back onto the philosophy. For the record, if you've never heard it before, there is nothing wrong with men being attracted to men, and there's nothing wrong with men being attracted to trans women. Attraction is not a choice, but men have to hide it because male homosexuality is considered to be a weakness. Homosexuality is not a weakness. It's not a flaw. We were designed to love each other. Where we got the women out here talking about, but that don't even matter because they're not used to love. They're used to feel arrested.
Cops will process just how severely their operations been sabotaged. No cocaine, no cash, and nobody to blame. The less involved part of me can't help but smile at the thought of them losing their collective shit. And look at you cleaning up this town. Halfway to being an employee of the LSPD, huh? If you pocketed some of that cocaine for yourself, you'd practically be a rank officer. Excellent work. Mission accomplished. Now to the vital matter of payment. As I'm sure you can appreciate, there are certain transactions I can't be party to as an officer of the law. But if I've learned anything from my associates on the LSPD, it's how to look the other way. Now remember, as far as I'm concerned, you can hit that factory as often as you'd like. As long as you're giving me reasons to keep looking the other way, I'm happy. As you can see from my choice of transportation, my fortunes at the LSPD are also improving. Just got these babies in. Fresh off the line. Guess who picked one up? Until next time, let's disassociate.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
Paring, esperen ahí. Why can't you assholes be on time for once, eh? Arms out, let's go. Okay, wait over there. We will bring it soon. Go on.
Once you leave the airstrip, do not let the guards get a good look at you. The disguise is not perfect. They see you clearly while you're in the wrong place. They will put two and two together and make bullets, yes?
display case. A pink diamond. Did you know you could have diamonds in pink? Must be worth extra. Then you destroy what is inside. I will do some research. Remember, you are not a pack mule. There is only so much you can carry. You want more? Bring friends.
I love it. That man is crazy. All right, I'm going to bed. Good night. Oh God, I haven't stayed up in like 6 hours. Jesus Christ. Good night. See y'all later.